From downtown Scranton, this is Northeast Current. WQPX invites you to join us as we explore public affairs, current events, and arts and culture in northeastern and central Pennsylvania. Now let's meet today's guests on Northeast Current.
Good morning and welcome into Northeast Current on the ION Network. My name is Kate Moss and I'm here with local author who's back for more, Eleanor Gwyn Jones. Welcome, Eleanor. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Kate.
It's been really interesting reading about you because there's a lot of information about you, about your book that you had out last year, and now the big news that we're going to be talking about is that you have a new book.
Yes, the anticipation. Yeah, I told everyone last year, the sequel to Theatrics, which was my first book, would be out in the springtime. Well, as I learned, things in publishing take a little more time than we think. So the book that was supposed to be out in the spring is now, it's a little Christmas delivery.
But that's okay, because it's a gifting time of year.
Well, yes, exactly. And it'll be a little gift for me that it's finally here. It's like my little book baby. So
that's funny you mentioned that because on Facebook, when you said the little baby, everybody was asking you if you were pregnant. Well, you kind of are, but not really.
Yes, I'm expecting.
You're expecting.
And whilst I don't have little flesh babies, little book babies suits me fine. Yeah. So it's exciting. I've put a lot of love and effort into it. So it's like you're rearing almost,
Well, yeah, of course
but
it
without
is.
the painful delivery. Let's hope mine goes a lot smoother and less painful.
Well, we're going to be talking about that delivery in just a little bit, but let's talk about your first book for somebody that may not know exactly what Theatrics was about, and that was a year ago.
Yeah, so Theatrics was born a year ago, my firstborn, and when that novel came out, it was really a transatlantic love story, and it's very character-driven. The heroine is called Anna Peterson, and she's a theatre director, and her raison d'etre, her mission in life, is to save her local theatre that she grew up with. It's a professional theatre, and it has the wonderful old velvet curtains and a whole 9 yards. And she finds that with the competition with DVDs, CDs, movie theatres, that people aren't going to the theatres. So her theatre is sort of decrepit and about to be taken over by the property developers. And then she's met this American that she sort of had this transatlantic relationship with, and he sort of says, well, hey baby, come to Scranton and marry me. And she's caught in this real dilemma because her hopes and her dreams were kind of wrapped around saving the theatre. So she finds she has to make this big choice. And, it's a mutually exclusive choice. She can't choose both. He can't be over here and she can't take her theatre over to Scranton. So it's very difficult for her. And she decides to follow her heart and go to Scranton. And she has to go through this visa gauntlet and go to the embassy and go through all the trials and tribulations of all that jazz. And then she arrives in Scranton and she finds that, well, I don't want to give everything away, but it's not exactly as she had been told it would be. Now, she's visited Scranton before, so it's not the place that's different. It's her situation regarding the visa. So, anyway, I probably shouldn't really say much more without giving it away.
Was that something always in your mind that you wanted to write down? Where did you get the idea for your first book?
Well, I was an actress in London, and in England rather, and I toured for sort of 3 or 4 years prior to me coming over here. And when I came here, and I had gone through the visa route, I had a fiancé visa and what have you, and when I arrived here, I couldn't work. Now, I had gone from being a member of this touring theatre company. I would work 7 days a week. They were often 14, 16-hour days of being on the road, loading everything into the van, driving there, setting the set, going through the sound and lighting changes with the technicians, performing, a small break between shows, performing again, getting the striking the set.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
It really was. It wasn't glamorous at all. And but there I was 21, I was 22, I was 23, I was hungry for it, and I was so very grateful to be one of the few actors who are employed, I think I was told once that it's something like 99% of actors are out of work, and I was so grateful to have this job that I would have done anything, and so I did do ridiculous things. Most days of the week was dressed up as a small boy pirate called Spud Pirate. Yeah, okay.
Okay, why?
But so that was my role in one of our very popular
Gotcha.
shows.
That's what I kind of
That's
thought.
why. It wasn't some weird dress-up thing.
Well, I can see your personality shining through, and theatrics, the heroine. Is she anything like you?
Telling. Yes. Bits of me.
A little bit.
I mean, of course, you know, her situation and the way she reacts to things, she's either a lot braver than I am or a lot dumber. But, you know, because that has to move the action,
Sure.
you know? Yeah, no, I love writing her because, you know, I really get to be the puppet master and decide, you know, is she going to be really smart here or is she going to be really dumb today? You know, and she's not. She's an incredibly bright woman. You know, she's just riddled with flaws. And, you know, she's so focused on her mission, you know, which is, you know, her theatre and then coming over here, that she doesn't see other people playing her. So. Hence the title Theatrics.
Theatrics, yeah.
With a K on the end. So.
Oh, okay. How long did it take to write that?
Oh gosh. Well, it was a bit of a labour of love because, and I can't actually tell you how long it took to write because I didn't start at the beginning. In my year when I first came to Pennsylvania and I couldn't work, I started to sort of write scenes and without theatrics in mind, but just, you know, I'd always been encouraged to write because I would write letters and aunties would say, you know, oh, Eleanor, you should write a book. You should write a book. So I wrote the scene once thinking, well, you know, everyone's saying write a book, try. And I went to the Dietrich Theatre in Tunkhannock, have a great writers group there. And it was headed up at the time by their executive director, who has since retired, but she's still one of my great friends and mentors, Hildy Morgan. And she said to me after my first reading, she said, oh, Eleanor, she said, you have to write this book. You have to write this book. Anna is so, so dear. And it made such an impression on me that someone I respected and admired told me to go for it, told me that it was worth something, that I needed to finish this, that it gave me the confidence and the encouragement to do so. So I did, and I started writing her story, you know, bits here and there, and gosh, I can't tell you the timeline and how long then it took me to write the whole thing, but Hildy was advising me on the business of publishing, and she gave me this huge tome full of agents and editors, and so I set out and I queried, which is the word used for sending cover letters to agents, and I got an agent in New York, and that's a whole other story because you know, it didn't really come to anything with that agent, but when I finally, the agent and I parted company, there was Omnific Publishing who said, have you still got that book? Because we'd love a shot at it. And so we said, really? Okay. And you know, within weeks I had a 2-book contract with them. So
We've had authors on the show before, and the whole business of writing and getting it published isn't the most pretty business.
No.
It's really not, and it takes a lot of work, a lot of dedication. So, Eleanor, when you say you hadn't worked for your first year here, you have.
Yeah.
You worked hard to get that book published, and you did.
So, well, the first one's called Theatrics. The second one is called Jazz Hands. And I just thought, you know, with the sort of decor that's rather theatrical at Posh, I thought it would be the perfect setting to have the delivery, have the book release party.
So the second book is called
Jazz Hands.
Jazz Hands. It's going to be released at Posh. Well,
Yeah.
okay, the third one needs to be Posh then.
Well, we'll see.
We'll
I'm not
see.
sure. Like with the first one, I left it fairly open-ended, which, you know, some readers were like, "Oh, how could you leave me like that?" But it was
That's good.
because it kept them thinking.
Sure.
Kept the open door there for me. And so, you know, when I sat down to write Jazz Hands, that was a really quick process. You know, and you know, such fun to revisit Anna's character and sort of, okay, where is she going to go from here? Really. And having that sort of greater knowledge of the Scranton area, you know, when I wrote this. And in the interim, I had moved briefly to Park Slope in Brooklyn. And, you know, that's a really sort of dynamic culturally rich area. So that was fun to write about as well. So the second novel isn't set in England. The second novel is set, Jazz Hands is set in Scranton and in Park Slope and a little bit somewhere else. But again, I can't tell you because it would give the plot away.
It would give it away, but you know what? I want to hear a little bit more about that second book, a little bit more about yourself. So coming up here on Northeast Current on the ION Network, we will be right back with Eleanor Gwyn Jones. My name is Kate Moss. Thanks so much for spending your morning with us, and we'll see you soon. Welcome back into Northeast Current on the ION Network, and good morning. My name is Kate Moss, and we're here with local author Eleanor Gwyn Jones. Welcome back.
Thank you, Kate. Glad to be here.
Yes, so happy to have you. We talked about your first book, Theatrics, and we're focusing more now on your second book, which you are going to be giving birth to very shortly, Jazz Hands. So tell us just a little bit about Jazz Hands, because obviously we don't want you to ruin it for our readers.
Well, Jazz Hands, in Jazz Hands we meet Eleanor again, and it follows on directly from Theatrics. So where we leave off, she picks up straight away. So there she is, abandoned in Scranton. She is a Brit out of water. and she's really, you know, she's found where her home is, you know, and that it's not about bricks and mortar, it's about the person she wants to be with most in the world. The problem is, the person she most wants to be in the world, she has lost his trust. So her, I guess, mission, her journey in this novel, in Jazz Hands, is how to earn someone's trust. And really, she learns it's just by continuing to love him and be there. And she does a lot of soul searching. I mean, in the first novel, Theatrics, it's set in the theatre, and a lot of it is it's the love of the theatre, which is love of falsehood, really. You know, it's pretend. And you know, it stabs her in the back at the end of Theatrics. So she's sort of fallen out of love with the theatre. She's a little bit broken, and she's heartbroken, you know, and she's here stranded on her own in Scranton. So she finds a friend who she used to know in England, but who now performs as an actress in New York, and she lives in Park Slope, Brooklyn. And so Anna goes to stay, she goes on the Mart's bus, and she goes to stay with her friend Tara. And Tara takes her one day, much, you know, against her thoughts originally, but she goes to a yoga studio. And she sort of has this quite funny scene where, you know, she's on her mat for the first time, and she's emotional, and it's not hot yoga, it's wet yoga, 'cause she's just crying all over the mat. And but it's something that she finds, she sort of goes into herself, and she's able to become more aware of what she's worth, become more aware of what she really wants. You know, does she want Cole, her American ex-fiancé or unfiancé, because it's, you know, what she thinks she should go for? Is it because that's what she really needs, you know, and that's what she really deserves? So it gets a little bit yogic, which is fun because, you know, in the time I was writing this, I discovered yoga at the yoga studio I go to called Jaya Yoga in Clark Summit, and just, you know, found that it was just this awesome sport. Can you call it a sport?
It's an experience,
but, yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
And you know that it wasn't just physical, but it was mental, and it was emotional, and it was spiritual, and it was all these things. And it was so funny because as I got to know a lot of women at the yoga studio, it's such a great community, that I learned a lot of the women had come there for what I call heart rehab. You know, they had come there after a breakup, or they had come there after they were grieving, you know, or while they were grieving rather. And yoga had sort of given them that self-worth again. And so it was fun to write that for Anna, and, you know, just writing, you know, scenes where, you know, she's trying to get her leg above her head and things like that. It's fun to write. You know, there's quite a lot of comedy in that.
Oh, yeah. The first time you hear Downward Dog, you don't know what you're hearing. That's for sure.
Yes. And I mean, the first time she hears Chaturanga, she thinks it's Cowabunga. She's like, what? So yeah, there's some levity in it as well. But, you know, it's sort of self-discovery. And then, you know, she sort of communicates with with Cole, her unfiancé, and
Unfiancé, I like that.
he's changed. And he's very different from the kind, supportive fiancé he was in the first book. And she has to question whether she wants to sort of plow on and keep trying and trying to win his trust when he's not treating her all that well. But it turns out in the story that there's a little more to it than that. And she sort of sets up this, I don't want to give too much away, but she sets up an event for them to be reunited. And it doesn't go according to plan. Let's leave it at that.
We can leave it at that.
Yeah.
But talking about an event, you are having an event, December 18th. Tell us about the event.
Well, last year it was just such a success launching theatrics at Posh. Posh is the place, you know. And it was just such great local support. You know, a lot of my friends and friends of friends showed up and they wanted a signed copy of theatrics. So this year we decided to do that for the launch of Jazz Hands, but with a little more
oomph. Yeah.
So I'm going to be signing books from 5 p.m. upstairs in the banquet rooms at Posh. And then at about 6:30, I have a jazz band coming. So Tommy Cha-Cha Mustachio Hamilton, who is a world-class saxophonist, or saxophone player, as you call over here. But in England, we say saxophonist, okay? He has a new CD out. And he has just a great band with a local hero, Marco Marcinko, and Bob Velez, and Paul Rostock, and Bill Washer, and, oh gosh, I know there's someone I'm going to forget. And some other great musicians, and they're going to come and they're going to play for the first set. And Tommy has his new CDs there for, you know, jazz aficionados who want to pick up a copy. And then I'll be taking like a little time to read a passage from the novel, and I'll be signing books for those who want to come and buy a copy. And then we'll be having the second set, and it'll be a fun night. There'll be a cash bar, there'll be nibbles, hopefully there'll be some dancing as well. But it's a really nice thing to celebrate the birth of my second child.
And it sounds like it's going to be a Posh event at Posh.
Absolutely.
In Scranton.
Oh, I have my outfit.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. I went to, well, I'm sort of, my friends know me, they always say if I'm not in fishnets or feathers, there's something wrong, you know, so I got this fantastic, well, maybe I shouldn't tell you. But there are feathers.
There are feathers. Are there fishnets?
Yes.
Okay. Fishnets and feathers. That'll be the launch of your next book, Fishnets and Feathers.
I do want to tell your viewers, though, there is something covering the fishnets and feathers.
Good.
It's not just, I'm not going to have one of those Cher moments, you know, when she turned up for the Oscars in just the...
Yeah, but we're appropriate. So actually on December 18th, too, you're doing something not only for your book, but you are giving selflessly of yourself to a local charity. So why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, I have a good friend called Meredith Canton, and she has two little girls, Odessa and Adelaide. And Adelaide was diagnosed earlier this year with leukemia, and she's 7 years old.
Oh.
And no 7-year-old child needs to go through that. And, you know, and just reading of, you know, her traveling to Danville, and you know, there she is on Thanksgiving, and she's got this port, and she's getting these spinal taps, and you know, 7 years old, I was playing with My Little Pony and Care Bears
Barbies,
and Cabbage Patch Dolls. You know, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. And they had just recently they had a fundraiser to help with medical costs for her and her family, and you know, I was asked to give a basket through my other job. I have a skincare and color cosmetics thing, and I put something together, and then I was sort of like, this doesn't really do much, you know? What's this really going to do? There must be something bigger that I could do to help. And when this event when I got the date for this event, I thought, wouldn't it be nice to have the proceeds of the sales from the books going to Adelaide? Adelaide's Army. Is what the non-profit is called. And you know, Adelaide's such a trooper, you know, and she's such a lovely little girl, and it's a lovely family, and it's just horrible to watch them go through it, you know. I feel sort of connected, and just seeing it all, and seeing little bits of, you know, Thanksgiving pictures and what have you that are spent in a hospital. It's just not fun.
Yeah, a child shouldn't be in a hospital at 7 years old for anything like that.
Yeah.
So that's very, very nice of you to do that. Is there somewhere that you know that people can go for Adelaide to you know, maybe donate or find out more information about her and her family?
Absolutely. Well, there is a Facebook page for Adelaide's Army.
Okay.
And I'm sure if we could give your lovely producer the link on screen, it could probably come up with how
She can do magic, yeah.
Wonderful.
And that, like I said, that's a very, very great thing to do, especially when you have someone local that just a friend, and that's just the way things happen, especially in Scranton.
Yeah.
It's the way things happen here, and people support people.
It's funny because Meredith, her mum, and I are both outsiders, and she was originally from, was it Baltimore or Virginia? So, Maryland or Virginia, one of those two. And you know, when this happened, people really rallied, and I was talking to her mother, so Adelaide's grandma, at a local event for Adelaide, and she said, I can't believe, you know, it's so lovely that all these people have come out to support. And I said, that's why I love Scranton. You know, people ask me all the time, you know, from London to Scranton, why would you stay? I'm like, do you not see it? Because you've got this amazing connected community, you know, and you know, when you see things like the event for Adelaide that went on at the Vault, and you couldn't get in the place. It was like sardines, you know, people coming to support this child. And with my book last year, you know, the line went out the door of people lining up to have a book. And, you know, I wouldn't get that support in New York. I'd just be one of many, you know. But here there really is a heart, there really is a spirit. There's really that, whether it's Irish or Italian, that kind of community, you know, of support. So that family.
That is very true. That's very true. This area is very, very well known for that. And, you know, after being away in a big city for 9 years, it was always a nice thing to come back home.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be back home, and it's nice to be talking with you, Eleanor. I know we have a lot going on for you, December 18th. And where could people find out more information about yourself and about your 2 novels now?
Okay, lovely.
Your twins, well, they're not twins. I was going to say your twins.
The siblings.
The siblings, there you go.
Well, oh gosh, well, I have a website, which I'm sure your lovely producer, Miss Regina Lanzo, can put here or something on the screen.
Right here.
Right here. So I have that website, eleanorgwynjones.com. And then there is also my Facebook page, which is a Facebook fan page. So like pictures from events and things go up there, and dates and times of things. And where else? Well, obviously on Amazon, the book will be available on Amazon. But not until the 16th. So it'll be available to download or to buy in paperback version from Amazon on the 16th, and the book release party is on the 18th.
Which obviously you'll have books you'll be signing, and that's December 18th. What time could people start arriving? At 5 at Posh?
They can start arriving at 5, and then the band will start playing. Well, you know bands. They have an approximate time.
Yes.
At about 6:30. They're going to stop. That's set number 1. I'm probably going to read at 7-ish. And then I'll continue signing books while they play the night out.
Well,
but we're sort of due
great.
to finish by 9.
Okay. It sounds like it's going to be a really exciting night for you and for your second child, your second book. And when you have a third one, we would love to have you back.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Kate.
Thank you so much, and thank you as well for watching us here on Northeast Current on the ION Network. My name is Kate Moss, and we'll see you next week. Yay! Can I visit you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So here's the thing, I just have to dress him. Oh, sugar. Okay, well done, well done. Chop, chop.
Wow.
Oh my God, that was so funny. Out. Hi. Oh, thank you so much. Don't worry, we were just cold. So when Harry let us in here, I was like, we're in.
You said that I'd have fun doing this. Probably do too. There's some interesting people in this world.
A yo, what you up to? Or how you doing? Or something like that.
Great.
Did you take it? I was talking, Regina. TMI.
A breakup speech.
The end.